This 82-year-old veteran walks into Judge Judy's courtroom for what everyone thinks is a simple $500 contract dispute. But when he rolls up his sleeves and reveals what's been tattooed on his skin for 60 years, Judge Judy breaks down in tears and does something that has never happened in the history of television courtrooms. I'm telling you right now, what you're about to witness will shatter your heart and restore your faith in humanity at the same time. What this elderly Marine has hidden under his sleeves isn't just ink and scars. It's a list of names that will make you understand the true cost of freedom. And when Judge Judy sees it, she doesn't just dismiss his case. She removes her own judicial robe and does something so unprecedented that CBS executives tried to stop the footage from airing. Before we dive into this incredible case, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing where my viewers are around the world. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss more unbelievable cases like this one. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. This story didn't just go viral. It broke the internet, made grown men weep uncontrollably, and within 48 hours it had changed federal laws regarding veteran care. Major corporations rewrote their hiring policies. The Pentagon launched new programs. And this one moment in a television studio became the most watched courtroom clip in history, with over 200 million views worldwide. But here's what will absolutely blow your mind. The case wasn't even about what anyone thought it was about. The $500 bathroom renovation dispute was just the surface. What was really happening in that courtroom that day was a revelation so powerful that it left everyone speechless, including the camera crew who were wiping tears from their eyes. But before I tell you what happened next, I need you to do something for me. Only 3% of the people watching this video are actually subscribed to this channel. And that's insane because this story is about to explode across every social media platform on Earth. So smash that subscribe button right now because what you're about to witness will be shared millions of times. And you're going to want to be part of this community when it happens. Trust me when I say this. In the next 35 minutes, you're going to understand why this single moment between an 82-year-old veteran and Judge Judy became the most powerful piece of television ever recorded. You're going to see why grown men who haven't cried in decades were sobbing. You're going to discover why this story forced the entire country to confront something we've been ignoring for far too long. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at veterans the same way again. It's a cold Tuesday morning in February, and Judge Judy's Manhattan television studio is buzzing with its usual controlled chaos. Cameras are rolling, the audience is seated, and Judge Judith Sheindlin, the 78-year-old legal powerhouse who has dominated daytime television for over 25 years, is about to hear what she thinks is just another routine small claims case. Judge Judy built her reputation on being tough, no-nonsense, and absolutely ruthless when it comes to exposing lies and holding people accountable. She's seen it all. Deadbeat dads, lying tenants, fraudulent contractors, family disputes that would make your head spin. In her quarter century on television, she's heard over 12,000 cases and very little surprises her anymore. She prides herself on being able to read people within the first 30 seconds, cutting through their excuses and getting straight to the truth. At exactly 10:30 a.m., the studio doors open slowly and in walks 82-year-old Robert Johnson, though everyone who knows him calls him Tank. Tank moves deliberately with his walking cane, each step measured and careful. He's wearing a heavy winter coat despite the warm studio lights, and his hands shake slightly as he removes his military-style cap. There's something unmistakable about the way he carries himself. Despite his age, despite the cane, despite the obvious frailty that comes with 8 decades of life, Tank stands with perfect military posture. Shoulders back, chin up, eyes forward. Once a Marine, always a Marine, and it shows in every fiber of his being. Tank is here for what appears to be the most routine case imaginable. A $500 contract dispute with a handyman named Mike Rodriguez, who was supposed to renovate Tank's bathroom, but allegedly disappeared after completing only 30% of the work. On paper, this looks like it should take maybe 10 minutes to resolve. Judge Judy will ask a few questions, look at the evidence, probably yell at somebody, and make a ruling. Standard Tuesday morning television. But what's about to unfold in that courtroom will prove that sometimes the most extraordinary stories hide behind the most ordinary circumstances. Sometimes the most powerful revelations come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes, just sometimes, television can remind us what it truly means to be human. As Tank approaches the defendant's podium, Judge Judy immediately notices something that her decades of experience have trained her to spot. This isn't just any 82-year-old man shuffling into her courtroom. The way he moves, the way he positions himself, the way his eyes scan the room with tactical awareness before settling into position. There's something different about Robert Johnson, and Judge Judy's instincts are telling her this case is going to be anything but routine. She looks down at her paperwork, then back up at Tank with those sharp, penetrating eyes that have intimidated thousands of defendants over the years. Mr. Johnson, Judge Judy begins, her voice carrying its trademark authority. You're here today claiming that Mr. Rodriguez, She gestures toward the defendant's side where a nervous-looking handyman fidgets with his paperwork. Took $500 from you for bathroom renovations and failed to complete the work. Is that correct? Tank nods slowly, his grip tight on his walking cane. Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. His voice carries something that makes Judge Judy pause for just a moment. There's a cadence to it, a precision in his speech that speaks of decades of giving and receiving orders. It's the voice of someone who's been in command, someone who's made life and death decisions, someone who's seen things that most people couldn't imagine. Judge Judy sets down her pen and leans forward slightly. In her 25 years on television, she's developed an almost supernatural ability to read people, and right now, every instinct she has is telling her there's much more to this story than a simple contractor dispute. Mr. Johnson, I have to ask. You're 82 years old. Most people your age aren't taking on major home renovation projects. Why are you renovating your bathroom? It's a simple question, but the way Tank's entire body language shifts when she asks it tells Judge Judy everything she needs to know. There's pain behind this renovation, necessity driven by something deeper than simple home improvement. Tank shifts uncomfortably, his hands gripping his cane even tighter. Well, Your Honor, I live alone and I need the bathroom to be more accessible. More safe. The words are careful, measured, like he's choosing each one deliberately to reveal as little as possible while still answering the question. Judge Judy's eyes narrow slightly. She's heard thousands of evasive answers over the years, and she knows when someone is holding back. Accessible for what, Mr. Johnson? Do you have mobility issues? Here's where something fascinating happens. Tank's posture, which had been slightly hunched and defensive, suddenly straightens. His shoulders square, his chin lifts, and for a moment the 82-year-old man with the walking cane disappears, replaced by the Marine he once was. Your Honor, I served in the United States Marine Corps for over 30 years. 3 tours of duty across multiple conflicts. The pride in his voice is unmistakable, but there's something else there too, something that makes Judge Judy's expression soften just slightly, which almost never happens. But guys, before I tell you what happens next, I need to know something, and I'm genuinely curious about this. Where are you watching this incredible story from right now? Drop your city and country in the comments below because I have a feeling this story is going to spread around the entire world, and I want to see how far it reaches. Are you watching from Los Angeles, London, Sydney, Tokyo? Let me know down there because what happens next is going to shock people no matter what country they're in, or what language they speak. The power of what Tank is about to reveal transcends borders, cultures, and languages. Judge Judy leans back in her chair, and for the first time since Tank entered the courtroom, there's a hint of respect in her voice. 3 tours of duty? Mr. Johnson, that's significant service. Can you tell me where you served? Tank takes a deep breath, and when he speaks, his voice carries the weight of decades of memories. Vietnam from 1968 to 1970, Your Honor. Then much later, Iraq from 2004 to 2005, and Afghanistan from 2007 to 2008. The courtroom falls completely silent. Even the handyman, Mike Rodriguez, stops fidgeting and stares at Tank with a mixture of surprise and newfound respect. Wait, did you catch that? This 82-year-old man didn't just serve in Vietnam when he was young. After living a full civilian life, after reaching an age when most people are settling into peaceful retirement, he volunteered to go back into combat zones. He served in Iraq in his 60s and Afghanistan in his 70s. This isn't just a veteran. This is someone who dedicated his entire adult life to serving his country, across multiple generations, multiple wars, multiple decades of sacrifice. Judge Judy's entire demeanor has changed now. The sharp, intimidating television personality has been replaced by someone who recognizes she's in the presence of extraordinary sacrifice. Mr. Johnson, she says, her voice softer now but still carrying authority. You served our country in 3 different wars across 4 decades of your life. That's not just service, that's a lifetime of dedication. Tank nods slightly, but there's something in his eyes, something that Judge Judy's trained instincts are picking up on. This man carries more than just the normal weight of military service. There's something deeper, something more painful, something that's directly connected to why he needs that bathroom renovation. And Judge Judy is about to start digging for the truth in a way that will change everything. Judge Judy picks up her paperwork again, but her eyes never leave Tank's face. She's no longer looking at him like a defendant. She's looking at him like a puzzle she needs to solve, a story she needs to understand. Mr. Johnson, let's talk about this bathroom renovation. You paid Mr. Rodriguez $500 up front for accessibility modifications. What specifically did you need done? Tank's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly, but Judge Judy catches it. After 25 years of reading people, she notices everything. Grab bars, Your Honor. A walk-in shower instead of the bathtub. Better lighting. Things to make it safer. His answers are getting shorter, more clipped, like he's trying to end this line of questioning as quickly as possible. But Judge Judy isn't having it. She turns to the handyman, Mike Rodriguez, who's been standing there looking increasingly uncomfortable as he realizes he's dealing with a war veteran. "Mr. Rodriguez, what work did you actually complete?" Mike shifts nervously. "Well, Your Honor, I installed one grab bar and started demo on the bathtub. But then I had some family emergencies and—" Judge Judy cuts him off with a wave of her hand. She's heard this excuse 1,000 times, but right now, her focus isn't on the contractor. Her focus is entirely on Tank, because something about his body language is screaming that there's more to this story than bathroom safety. "Mr. Johnson," Judge Judy says, leaning forward and fixing Tank with that penetrating stare that has made her famous. "You mentioned accessibility. You mentioned safety. You served our country for decades, and you're asking for basic modifications to your own bathroom. Help me understand something. What aren't you telling me?" The question hangs in the air like a challenge, and Tank's hands start shaking more noticeably as he grips his cane. "Your Honor, it's—" Tank starts, then stops. He looks around the packed studio audience, cameras pointing at him from multiple angles, bright lights making everything feel exposed and vulnerable. It's complicated. Judge Judy has heard those words countless times, but the way Tank says them with such pain and reluctance tells her she's getting close to something important. Something that this proud Marine has been hiding. Complicated how, Tank? She uses his nickname deliberately, humanizing the moment, breaking down the formal barriers of the courtroom. In my experience, when a decorated veteran says something is complicated, it usually means he's carrying a burden he shouldn't have to carry alone. Tank's entire body tenses at those words. His breathing becomes slightly more labored, and Judge Judy notices that despite the warm studio lights, he's still wearing that heavy, long-sleeved shirt, buttoned all the way up to his neck. "Your Honor, some things are better left private," Tank says quietly, but his voice wavers slightly. For the first time since entering the courtroom, the unshakable Marine facade is beginning to crack. Judge Judy recognizes the moment. She's seen it before when people are on the verge of revealing something profound, something that's been eating at them for years. She stands up from her bench, something she rarely does, and walks around to the front, eliminating the formal barrier between judge and defendant. "Tank," she says, her voice gentle but insistent, "we deal with truth in this courtroom. Nothing but truth. What's really going on with this bathroom renovation?" Tank looks around the studio one more time, his eyes scanning the audience, the cameras, the court officers, all these strangers who are about to witness something he's kept hidden for decades. His hands are trembling more violently now, and sweat beads are forming on his forehead despite the controlled studio temperature. Judge Judy stands directly in front of him, her voice soft but unwavering. "Tank, whatever it is, we're going to face it together. What do you need to tell me?" For a moment that feels like an eternity, Tank doesn't move. The entire studio is holding its breath. Even the camera operators have stopped adjusting their equipment. The only sound in the courtroom is the quiet hum of the studio lights and Tank's slightly labored breathing. Then very slowly, almost reluctantly, he begins to unbutton his heavy winter coat. His fingers shake as he works each button like he's removing armor that's protected him for years. "Your Honor," Tank's voice is barely above a whisper, "the bathroom modifications aren't just about mobility. They're not just about being 82 years old." He shrugs off his coat, revealing the long-sleeved shirt underneath. "They're about the days when I can't function. When the ghosts get so loud that I can barely remember where I am or what year it is." Judge Judy's eyes widen slightly. She's starting to understand, but she hasn't seen anything yet. Tank takes the deepest breath he's taken since entering the courtroom. With shaking hands, he begins rolling up his sleeves. First the left arm, then the right. What the courtroom sees next sends a collective gasp through the studio audience that the microphones can't fully capture. Tank's arms are covered in scars. Deep, jagged scars from shrapnel wounds that tell the story of battles fought across 3 different wars. But that's not what makes Judge Judy's hand fly to her mouth in shock. Running from Tank's right wrist almost to his elbow, in small, precise military lettering, is a tattoo unlike anything anyone has ever seen in a courtroom. It's not an eagle or a flag or a military insignia. It's a list. A long, heartbreaking list of names, 47 names in total, each one carefully inscribed in black ink that has faded slightly with time but remains perfectly legible. The studio audience is dead silent. Camera operators are zooming in, trying to capture every detail of what they're witnessing. Judge Judy's voice breaks for the first time in her 25-year television career. "Tank," she whispers, her professional composure completely shattered. "What are those names?" Tank looks down at his arm, at the names that have been with him for decades, and when he looks back up at Judge Judy, tears are streaming down his weathered face. "Those are my boys, Your Honor." His voice cracks completely. "Every Marine I lost under my command. 47 names across 3 wars. I carry them with me everywhere I go." The revelation hits the courtroom like a physical force. The silence in that studio is deafening. Audience members are openly crying. The bailiff has tears streaming down his face. Even the camera crew, who have filmed thousands of hours of courtroom drama, are visibly shaken by what they're witnessing. Judge Judy, the woman who has built her career on being tough and uncompromising, is struggling to maintain her composure as she looks at the names tattooed on Tank's arm. Each name represents a young life cut short, a family destroyed, a future that will never be. Tank's voice breaks completely as he continues. Your Honor, the bathroom renovation isn't about getting older. It's about post-traumatic stress disorder. It's about the nights when I wake up screaming, thinking I'm back in a foxhole in Vietnam or a compound in Afghanistan. It's about the days when the flashbacks hit so hard that I can't remember if I'm 25 or 82, if I'm in my house or in a war zone. His entire body is shaking now, the weight of decades of hidden pain finally being released. The bathroom modifications, therefore when I'm having panic attacks so severe that I can't make it to a regular bathroom. When I need grab bars not because my legs are weak from age but because my hands are shaking so badly from memories that I can't trust myself to stand. When I need a walk-in shower because some mornings I wake up covered in sweat from nightmares about watching my Marines die, and I need to get clean quickly before the smell of fear and gunpowder in my mind drives me completely insane. Judge Judy is openly weeping now, something her television audience has never seen before. She reaches out and gently touches Tank's arm, just below the tattoo. Tank, how long have you been carrying this alone? Tank looks down at the names on his arm, running his finger over them like he's done thousands of times before. 60 years, Your Honor, since Vietnam. I've added names after each deployment. Every boy I couldn't bring home gets a place on my skin where I can see them every day. What Judge Judy does next will shock the world and break every rule of television courtroom protocol. She turns to her bailiff and says something that has never been said in the history of daytime television. Bailiff, please hand me my robe. Confused, the bailiff approaches the bench and retrieves Judge Judy's black judicial robe. Judge Judy takes it and, standing directly in front of Tank, begins to remove her own robe right there in the courtroom. Tank, she says, her voice thick with emotion, I want you to put this on. Tank looks at her in complete shock. Your Honor, I can't do that. That's your robe. I'm just a defendant. Judge Judy's voice becomes firm but filled with profound respect. You're not just anything, Tank. You're a hero who has sacrificed everything for our freedom. Put on the robe, Marine. Guys, I need to pause here for just a moment. If you're not subscribed to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? Stories like this, stories that remind us what real heroism looks like, stories that restore our faith in humanity. This is exactly why this channel exists. Hit that subscribe button right now because what happens next will change how you view both justice and sacrifice forever. With trembling hands, Tank allows Judge Judy to place the judicial robe over his shoulders. The heavy black fabric hangs on his frail frame, but somehow wearing it transforms him. He stands taller, prouder, like the weight of recognition is lifting decades of shame and isolation. Judge Judy steps back and does something that has never happened in television history. She salutes Robert Tank Johnson, a federal judge saluting a defendant in her own courtroom. The entire studio erupts. The audience gives a standing ovation that lasts over 4 minutes. Bailiffs are saluting. Camera operators are crying behind their equipment. Even Mike Rodriguez, the contractor who started this whole case, is on his feet clapping and wiping tears from his eyes. Judge Judy's voice carries across the courtroom as she makes an announcement that will be replayed millions of times. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what American heroism looks like. This man has sacrificed everything for our freedom, and he came here worried about $500. The immediate impact was unprecedented. Within 6 hours of the episode airing, the clip had 15 million views across all platforms. CBS's phone lines crashed from viewer responses. Veterans Affairs hospitals nationwide reported thousands of calls from veterans seeking help for PTSD. Tank received over 50,000 letters from grateful Americans within the first week alone. 6 months later, Tank returned to Judge Judy's courtroom, not as a defendant this time, but as a special advocate, helping other veterans navigate the legal system. The transformation was remarkable. The broken, isolated man who had walked in with a simple bathroom dispute had become a beacon of hope for thousands of struggling veterans across the country. Tank told reporters something that will give you chills. Judge Judy didn't just dismiss a case that day. She reminded me that my service mattered, that my boys who didn't make it home mattered, that I wasn't just some broken old man taking up space in the world. She gave me a reason to keep fighting, not just for myself but for every veteran who's struggling in silence. The long-term impact of this single moment continues to ripple across the nation. Major corporations rewrote their veteran hiring policies. The VA launched new PTSD awareness campaigns using Tank's story. 3 states passed legislation improving veteran mental health services. Tank now speaks at military academies, high schools, and corporate events about the hidden costs of war and the power of recognition. He's personally helped over 800 veterans connect with proper mental health care, and he still carries those 47 names on his arm. But now he also carries hope, purpose, and the knowledge that his brother's sacrifice has meaning. And guys, I have one final question for you, and I really want you to think deeply about this and share your answer in the comments below. What's the most powerful act of recognition or kindness you've ever witnessed? What's a moment when someone acknowledged another person's sacrifice or struggle in a way that changed everything? Drop your stories in the comments, because after hearing about